Achieving great black and white photography. Where do you start? I'm going to tell you. I've had a surprising amount of people recently ask me to talk about various aspects of black and white photography. So I've created a series of quick tip videos, or thought videos as I like to call them. A good place to start this series is to talk about intention. For many photographers, black and white is something that we turn to after we've shot something in color and it didn't quite work out according to plan and didn't look as good as we'd hoped. So we're trying to figure out a way to rescue it. Yeah, we've all been there. A fairly mediocre photo like this is a good example. We look at it and then wonder if by turning it to black and white, will it be improved? Well, sometimes they are improved, but more often than not, a boring photo is still going to remain a boring photo. The most successful black and white photography is achieved when we intentionally go out to shoot in black and white. One important question to ask yourself is, does the color in the scene in front of you help tell a story more effectively? Does it make the photo visually more interesting? Does it help evoke more of a mood or a feeling to the photo? Is color distracting from the emotional qualities in the photo and what you're trying to communicate? The point of this photo was about humor. The guy sitting on the bench wearing a t-shirt with the word bench. Well, to me that was funny. Color added nothing to the story. In my opinion, I shot on a digital camera with the intention of turning it black and white. I shoot a lot of documentary style photography like this for the same reason. It's about the story. Color wouldn't add anything to the photo. It would only be a distraction. Black and white photography allows us to focus on story, mood, and emotion, amongst other things. And we'll get into that in more detail in future episodes. When we shoot black and white with intention, or on purpose, we need to look at things differently. One important consideration is how the colors in front of us translate to monochrome tones. If your frame is filled with a bunch of colors that will all convert to similar tones, similar shades of gray, that's not good because you end up with a flat gray, lifeless image. If you shoot a landscape, for example, with lots of green grass and blue sky, as you can see here, those two colors can have similar tones. So when converted to black and white, both look exactly the same. If you understand this, you can address it and deal with it when you're taking the photo and not try and fix it in post. In this example, a simple, somewhat abstract image looks pleasant enough with the pink and yellow flowers, but when converted to black and white, it doesn't work at all. It's one mass of similar grey texture. Complementary colors in a composition can create the most fantastic color photos. Colors with the same tonal range that all sit on opposite sides of the color wheel, I think look fantastic. But in black and white, everything falls flat. Okay, you're getting the idea now. If you're converting a color file to black and white, for sure you can adjust the color channels and tweak tones so some are lighter, some are darker, so you're creating some contrast. Ideally though, you still need to understand how different colors convert to monochrome tones, so you can use that knowledge and work with it ahead of time for best results. I believe a good place to start is experimenting with compositions with lots of red and blue in. It's easy to convert red to a lighter tone and blue to a darker tone, particularly with black and white film when you're using something like an orange or red filter. I shot this because of the contrasting colors, which I knew would look good in color, but I also knew they would convert to black and white really well by lightening the red and darkening the blue sky to create contrast. If I was shooting black and white film or with a monochrome sensor, a red filter would have created a similar result. I shot that image with the intention of turning it to black and white, and I mentioned contrast. That's a topic for a whole separate video, and it's a good one, so make sure to subscribe. Okay, so to shoot successful black and white photography, we need to shoot with intention and have an understanding of how different colors convert to different tones and work together once in black and white. Now, if you're shooting digital, you're at an advantage over film photographers because you can set your EVF and monitor on your camera to monochrome. That takes away all the guessing. You can see exactly what you're going to get before you press the shutter. But it's good to have the knowledge to work with and not just rely on technology. Well, that's it for now. There are more tips coming, so do make sure to subscribe. Oh, I mentioned subscribe twice. That's going to be annoying.